How Robin had rescued Will Stutely. The next day was bright and sunny. The gates of Nottingham town were closed. The sheriff was going to hang Will Stutely that day. Nobody could enter the town that whole morning. Robin and his men were waiting on the edge of the forest. Robin was in red, and his bowmen wore bright green costumes. After some time they saw a young priest on the road. Will Scarlet went out from the forest to talk to the priest and get some news of Nottingham town. "I ask your pardon, do they want to hang an outlaw today?" asked Will Scarlet. "Yes, they will hang him today." And I went away. "I did not want to see the hanging," answered the priest. "But who will pray for the poor outlaw? Who else can do it?" "The bishop and his men will not pray for his soul." "And your prayers can help his soul," said Will Scarlet. "You are right. I will pray for his soul. But how can I enter the town? The gates are closed." "But I think I know the other way to the town on the far side," said the priest. "Thank you. Your idea is perfect. You and my friends can enter the town on the far side, too," said Will Scarlet. So the men entered the town secretly on the other side of the western gate. Nobody noticed them. Every man stood in the central square and waited for the coming hanging. Soon Robin and his men saw Will Stutely between the rows of the sheriff's guards. Will Stutely looked to the right and to the left hopelessly. He did not see his friends among the villagers. He was very sad and scared. The sheriff stood up and looked around gladly. "Hang the outlaw!" cried the sheriff. The guard pushed Will Stutely into the gallows and tied a rope around his neck. At that moment a young priest stepped forward. "My lord sheriff, let me pray for his soul." "It is wrong to hang him without a prayer," said the young priest. "All right. But do it very quickly," said the sheriff. The priest began to say his prayers quickly. Suddenly a tall man started to scream in the crowd. All of the people were looking left and right to see the screamer. At that moment the priest released Will Stutely and took his sword out of his cloak. The sheriff jumped to his feet angrily. A fight began at once. The sheriff's men tried to catch the outlaws, but there was no such result. Many of the villagers started to fight against the sheriff's men, too. Robin and his men tried to reach the gate. But it was not that easy. At last they went through the gate and began to run to the forest. The sheriff's bowmen shot at them from the town walls non-stop. Suddenly one of the bowmen shot at Robin's hand, and the sheriff laughed at Robin loudly. Robin took his bow and shot at the sheriff's head. There was a big scratch on the sheriff's head, but he was alive. The next moment Robin saw Maid Marian next to him. "Marian! You are here!" screamed Robin. "I had to come and help you, Robin." "But we are in a trap," said Marian. "We will find the way, my dear," said Robin. A minute later a tall knight was coming from the castle. Robin recognized him at once. It was Sir Richard of the Lea. He was smiling joyfully. Soon the outlaws were in the castle, safe and sound. The sheriff's men could not enter the castle. They cried angrily at the castle door and went away. That is how Robin Hood rescued Will Stutely and met Sir Richard of the Lea again. How Sir Richard of the Lea repaid his debt. "Open the gate! Give me back the enemies of the king! One know they are hiding in your castle," cried the sheriff. "Who are you to come to my castle? They are hiding on my land. I am not afraid of you. You have no power on my lands." "I will listen only to the king," answered Sir Richard of the Lea. "Then the king himself will punish you." "King Richard returned last week from the Holy Land," said the sheriff. There was no answer. The sheriff waited a few minutes and went away. After that the knight went to Robin and his men. He greeted them gladly. "Hello, my friends. So today I repaid my debt to you," said the knight. "You repaid all of your debt?" "Exactly 400 pounds, said Robin. Sir Richard smiled and invited the outlaws for dinner. At dinner Robin and his men met Sir Richard's wife and son. The lady was a very kind woman, and the young son was a good bowman. The dinner was perfect. There were many men at 2 long tables. They drank, ate, and sang many songs. The next day the outlaws went to Sherwood Forest, and the sheriff went to London to inform the king. He spoke to him about attentively Robin Hood for a long time. The king listened to him very attentively. I heard of Robin Hood and his men. I also heard of their power. Did they shoot in the tournament in London? Said the king. Yes, your majesty. They shot under the Queen's amnesty, answered the sheriff. I know that they came to the last tournament in Nottingham, and there was no amnesty. Am I right? Answer me, said the king. Yes, your majesty. They came without amnesty, answered the sheriff. And you call yourself a sheriff? Anyway, I will think about these outlaws. They should not forget the power of the king, said the king. So the sheriff went away and came back to Nottingham. Soon the king came with his knights to Sir Richard's castle. Sir Richard opened the gate and greeted the king respectfully. After that, Sir Richard told the king about Robin Hood and his men. The king liked his story very much. He asked many questions about Robin Hood and his adventures. I want to see this brave man. I will go to Sherwood Forest alone. And you will come on the second day, said the king. Agreed, your majesty, answered Sir Richard.